Alright, so I know it's late, but I really, really, really wanted to talk about this comic. I really wanted to talk about it. And that is Batman Brave and the Bold, the winning card. It was going to be called Volume 1, but I guess they took off the Volume 1 and just made it like its own little thing. This was part of the Brave and the Bold line, and this is written by Tom King and Mitch Gerardis. And I know the moment I said that, it literally made everyone watching this video retch at the thought of it. But yeah. Now, yes, I did buy this comic after watching the episode of Comic Pop talking about this episode. And what can I say? They have really good recommendations. I like Comic Pop. And this was a comic, and I am a big Tom King fan. I also am a Tom King fan who acknowledges that not everything he does is gold. I am more well aware that he works better in like a mini-series, but so far his Wonder Woman is proving to be pretty damn good. I don't know how long his Wonder Woman run is going to be, but hopefully it won't be like almost 100 issues, because that's when we start to see Tom King lose steam here. Anyway, but when you put Tom King with Mitch Gerardis, that's when you get gold. That's when I think you get the best work. And yeah, so I didn't know this was part of the. I didn't know this Tom King Mitch Gerardis story was in Brave and the Bold. I knew the new line wasn't so much a team up comic like it used to be, but it was more like a Batman anthology comic that people would be like, oh, Brave and Bold would have to be used in the comic at some point or another. That's a dumb gimmick, but yeah, I wanted to check this out. It was touted as the scariest Joker comic we've had in a long time, and I wanted to see if that was true. And you know what? It was. This is the scariest Joker we've had in a while. But before I get into that, let's talk about what this comic is about. This is basically a retelling of of the Joker's first appearance in Batman comics. It's basically like the whole thing of like Henry Claridge will die at midnight, or so-and-so will die at midnight, and yeah, but it's more of a horror take on it. Like, it's a different take, and you could argue that this is or is not in continuity. We could argue that till the cows come home. It's an anthology comic. You could just say, it's in canon or not. It really doesn't matter. None of this matters. It's DC continuity. What the fuck you want to do, right? Yeah, so the comic is a gorier, darker take on and a retelling of Joker and Batman's first interactions with each other. The comic is actually only 4 parts long. In fact, it ran from issues 1, 2, 5, and 9. So if you were reading the book, you'd have to be like waiting to finish the next 2 like story, like the next half. I don't know if it was just part of that anthology and you just have to wait. I don't know what the deal was, why it wasn't consecutive. I never read Brave and the Bold, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah, the comic is, like I said, this is the scariest I've seen Joker in a long time. I will admit though that I think Joker, like they stole something from it. Like basically, when you first see Joker, he's just talking to a child in the rain, and he has a balloon. That sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? I will say though that I like how Joker speaks in this comic, where he's like, this is a Joker who's trying to figure himself out. Like, this is a Joker who is trying to like learn and understand and what he wants to do with himself. And to kind of iterate that, kind of like how they had the Dark Side Is boxes, they have these, like, in 1920s silent movies, they'd have dialogue screens. Like, they'd have this. I have a knife, but you can't have that yet. It's just shit like that. Joker says things in here that just gets under your skin. It's so creepy. There are just straight up horror moments too, like Joker in a suit of armor and Gordon describing what happens next. I don't want to go into full detail, but like, it's awful. I will say though that like I've never heard like Gordon describes Joker's laugh in such a way that like it's so disturbing. Like he calls it like someone chewing styrofoam. It's yeah. How do you describe that? It's just something unearthly. with this Joker. And there are just some straight up horror moments in this book. Bruce himself is like dealing with, going through a lot of injuries, going through like trying to figure out how to best battle the Joker, because at this point he hasn't come up against anyone like Joker before. So he's trying the best way to figure it out. And again, we do run into the whole thing of like Tom King views Batman as Bruce Wayne's longest suicide note, which I kind of am like, I mean, he's got a point, but like it's not like we've moved past that with the character. But I give it credit because I give this a pass because this is supposed to be early Batman, who is kind of making like Batman is the suicide note. You can make that argument if it's early Batman, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish we'd moved past this. But whatever. Yeah, there's also the inclusion of a lesser-known character from Batman #1 called Brute Nelson, who, I swear to God, that Mitch Gerardis makes the guy look like, what's his name? The guy who played the Punisher in the MCU. That guy. And I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. But he makes him look like that, and also there's a lot of swearing, and it's not like your typical swearing either. It's like the level of swearing where it's blanked out with a bunch of wingding numbers and shit. And there's one guy that Batman corners in a train station, and he's just they're bleeping out the words, and I'm like, I feel like this should have worked I really feel like this shouldn't have been a Brave and the Bold book, and I feel like this should have been a Black Label book. Like, this should have been like a 4-issue mini Black Label book, so we could actually get this amount of swearing, because it gets comical at one point. Like, it legit gets so goddamn comical at a point. It's a solid book. I love the final confrontation between Batman and Joker, and how it sets up things between them, or in this continuity, or in the main continuity. It's just a solid little short story. It's nothing big. It's not. I also wouldn't call this one of Tom King's best stories. I do want to read. Everyone's telling me that Tom King's Human Target is the best comic that he's written, and I really want to read that. I know Chris keeps telling me that he's going to send Human Target to me at some point or another. Can't wait for that. But yeah, it's a solid little short story. I wouldn't call this like Tom King's best work, but I will say it's Tom King doing what he does best, working with Mitch Gerardis and making a short comic that does hit home on what the themes are. So if you're looking for like Joker being scary, here you go. Here's your comic right here. I would not give this to kids. This is not like a nice, here kids, you want to know more about Batman and Joker? Here! No, don't give this to a kid. If you want like a legit Batman horror story with the Joker, here you go. Here is your book. There's some great horror themes. There is great themes about Batman and him coming to grips with the city is changing and it's not for the better. In fact, there's a great ending line with Alfred talking about, like, Batman and Batman's trajectory being changed in Gotham because of the Joker. I'm not going to go into full spoilers with that, but it's a great monologue about it. All in all, it's a nice little solid story. I'd suggest picking this up if you're looking for, like I said, a good spooky story with the Joker. Anyway. So, yeah, also, I got this myself. I should have mentioned this isn't from one of Chris's haul. He did send me 2 new DC books, along with some Image books, which I'll be talking about next review. And those are 2 Image books I've been dying to read. But I wanted to pick this up for myself. I really wanted to read it, and I highly recommend it. So, there you go, guys. That's my review for Batman the Winning Card. If you've read it, comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.